Welcome back to the Mental Playbook with Christine Dalgity, Season 2. This season, we are expanding the conversation, hearing from mental health experts, professionals from different industries, and people in the sports world about how they take care of their minds, handle challenges, and build the mindset to thrive both on the job and in life. So, grab a coffee, get comfy, tune in, get inspired, and let's dive into some fascinating conversations. Remember, your mind is super powerful, and with the right tools and knowledge, you can master your mental playbook. And while you're doing that, take care of you. Hey everyone, Christine here, and welcome back to the Mental Playbook with Christine Dalgity. If you've ever struggled with injury, burnout, losing motivation, or feeling disconnected from your body, or you want to learn about how yoga, movement, and strength training connect to your mental well-being, then this episode is for you. Today's guest is a yoga instructor, a certified personal trainer, an athlete, and no, that's not her day job. She's also a federal public servant. I want to welcome Joelle to the Mental Playbook. So just for you, Joelle, we named the Mental Playbook because I am all my listeners know this, I'm a big sports fanatic. I used to play competitive sports when I was younger and able to. And obviously psychology is my love too. So Mental Playbook. So today's episode is going to be really great because it's going to connect the physical and the mental part. And that makes me excited. All right. So we're just going to dive into your background a little bit. I'm going to ask Joelle some questions and just have a conversation about connecting all of this and how yoga, strength training, and everything, just how we connect mind and body, basically, right? So just to start, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, both professionally and in the wellness world?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for having me, Christine.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to be here. So from a wellness standpoint, I am a registered yoga teacher and a certified personal trainer. I began teaching yoga about 7 or 8 years ago, but I've been practicing yoga for, about 15 years, I think. And then professionally, I do work for the federal government, so it's always trying to balance kind of my work life and then my passion, which is yoga and wellness.
Okay, all right. And when did your relationship with movement begin? Like, were you very young and you just, like, you're an athlete too. You say you play a lot of sports, ringette. I played ringette when I was a kid because they didn't let girls play hockey back then.
That's right. Fastest sport on ice, though, and it's growing in popularity, so that's great.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So when did that start?
I've always, I grew up in a very active family. I'm the youngest of 4 girls, and all of us did competitive sports, very high level throughout our lives. Parents are active, still are into their retirement. So I was probably about 4 years old when I began really getting into activities. I think that started with skiing, downhill skiing, and then soccer was my first sport. I still play it to this day. I did figure skating and ringette at the same time, and eventually had to decide to do which one. Yeah, and it was hard because you'd put on the figure skates, which would have the pick, and then you'd switch, to go to ringette practice, and you have a hockey blade, so sometimes you'd be a little thrown off. But so I've always done sports activities, very competitive with ringette and soccer, and I still play them to this day.
Awesome. My grandkids are they're 5 and 3, and they're just getting into. My grandson plays hockey right now, and he's right into it, and I'm like,
yes.
And awesome. My granddaughter, she'll be 4 in April, and she's starting soccer. So my son played regional soccer. He was a goalie. Yeah. And so I know he's excited with her playing that. But I always say, tell me the schedule, because I'm blocking off. Because I don't want to miss any of it. I want them to start young, too. Yeah. Yeah. Being a certified personal trainer and an athlete, how do those intersect?
How do those intersect? I think sport is fantastic, but it's very different from if you are working out, if you're training your muscles to build strength. And I think you need to have the strength training to be successular in your sports, and not just the strength training, but running as well. I'm an avid runner, golfer, having some sort of activity as well for your cardiovascular health. So I think they complement each other really well. Yoga comes in there, of course, too. But it's good to do different forms of activity because one will strengthen the other and vice versa.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I told Lily before I came, I was watching my son. He plays broomball. He's goalie for broomball. And they were just in the regional tournament. It's the East region, so they go to provincials. They won this morning. I was there before, and I was laughing because you have all these guys out there. And he stretched and he made a save, and my daughter-in-law's like, oh, that's going to hurt tomorrow. And so when you say, like they're at the age where it's not competitive so they're out there, they're probably having a beer after, you know? And so I think about that too. Like, I don't know how much, I know he doesn't do personal training or anything like that. So it is really important to, even into, this is getting off topic a bit, but just getting older and doing activities.
Oh
and
my
stuff,
gosh.
And
I think what you said, if you fall or make kind of a strange save, I think there's been times when I've fallen in soccer and I kind of land in like a push-up position and I can push myself back up and I'm like, there's my strength or there's my yoga.
Absolutely.
To bounce back up, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
My sister actually had a client, personal training client. She was an older lady, and her goal was to be able to lift her luggage up into and so she brought a carry-on. And they were training at the end. She lifted it up onto the top shelf, so it was really cool.
That's amazing. She was probably so happy.
Yes, she was. Yes, yeah. So in your bio, you said a phrase that I love, and I may steal it from you. Movement is your medicine. Movement is medicine. So from a mental health perspective, movement regulates the nervous system. It improves mood. It reduces anxiety, and even it processes trauma. That I'm a trauma specialist, and it processes trauma that's stored in your body moving. So I totally agree. Yes. Physical and mental medicine, for sure.
Yeah.
So can you explain what that means in your own life, why you label that as medicine?
Yeah, I need movement. I'm an active person, but I notice when I'm not moving that my mental health is is poor. And sometimes you're not moving for factors kind of beyond your control, or injury or something has gone on in your life and you can't. But I do find that I struggle when I'm not moving my body. And then sometimes if I'm in a really terrible mood mentally, and then I go and I make myself go, I feel, on cloud nine after. Is that because it's done and it's over? Or is it because,
For sure.
it's actually helped increase my mood. I've moved my body a bit and you just feel a lot better.
Absolutely, and endorphins are released.
Yes.
And if you're working out with other people or playing a sport or something, oxytocin is released, serotonin's released, dopamine, all of the happy chemicals in your brain are all released. So, and I think that for some of my clients, because I have some older clients too, and they think that they have to go and do these big workouts and it's like, no. Move.
Yeah.
Just
move.
Just move. And yoga and that kind of stuff, which we're going to get into, just the mind connection to it. So,
well, and I'll add to that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm working, I work a desk job, but I try to go for a walk on my lunch, 20-minute walk. And that's not anything crazy, that's something that's accessible to a lot of people, and just do some sort of movement.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had a client once, and she had a goal. She had retired, and she had a goal that it was her life plan, and she had all these things on it, and then she was going to exercise 3 times a week. And so I saw her on a Monday, and I said, how did it go with the first week? And she said, I couldn't do, on Saturday. I only exercised twice. I didn't exercise on Saturday. I said, oh, so what happened on Saturday? We're repainting the home office. So I was emptying all the bookshelves and moving the books downstairs, and I said, okay, so you didn't go on a treadmill or you didn't lift weights, but you were lifting books and you were bending, squatting, whatever. Yes. And I said, how about we take exercise out and change it to activity? And she goes, well, I'm active every day.
Yeah.
Right? And that completely changed her perspective on it. And you actually, I saw her shoulders go down, and like,
Yeah.
you know.
Do you walk your dog? Like, there's things that you're probably doing that you're not classifying as, okay, I went to the gym for 60 minutes, but it doesn't need to be,
It doesn't,
right?
yeah. Has your relationship with exercise changed? I guess, yeah, you said depending on what you're going through emotionally. So does your relationship with it change?
I think perhaps my enthusiasm for the movement changes. If emotionally I'm not feeling great that day, it might be harder to motivate myself to go. And even when I'm there, I might be less inclined to push myself a little harder or to stay a little longer or to interact with people that I see that are also there. So it
Yeah.
definitely has an effect. But yeah.
But pushing yourself, do you still push yourself to go? Or do you give yourself some days it's like, no, I'm not doing it today?
I I am very disciplined, so to me
Yeah.
it's kind of like you have to go, because if you don't, it's going to be a lot worse for you than if you didn't go.
For sure.
So I do make myself go. It just might look a little different. It might be
Yep.
less intense. It might be shorter. But I do try to make myself go because I know it's worse if I don't.
And you feel better after.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I chase that feeling. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that's really key. You don't have to do your full workout,
Yeah.
but you're doing something. And from a mental health perspective, that's going to produce dopamine too, because when we accomplish something, dopamine's released, right? And that motivates
Yes.
us. And I know for myself, I've started, and we've talked about it in podcasts before, but because perimenopause and everything, like everything you used to do in your 20s and 30s, do the opposite. It's so frustrating. But 6 weeks ago, I started, like, I kept saying, Christine, it's consistency. Like, just push yourself to do it. So I've been doing strength training. I put a gym in my basement, even though there's a gym in my office, kind of. My sister's half, but she's busy in the morning. I usually start later so I can work evenings. So, and I'm not working out at 9 o'clock at night. Anyway, so even like the mornings at first, I was, oh no, I'm just going to do some work and everything. Nope, go downstairs. And now I've done it consistently for 6 weeks. Feel so much better. Strength training 4 days a week. And then I walk 2 days a week, and Sundays I have a rest day. But, and it's still just, I've done a lot of research. So I'm not going crazy. I'm not doing crazy cardio and stuff because of my age and stress on my body, and feel so good. But now I get up and it's like, okay, I need to find time to go work out.
Yes.
And the days that I don't want to and I push myself to do it, I feel so good after. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that too, because I know I have women that watch this or listen to this in perimenopause, and that, just keep showing up.
Yes.
And it feels so much better.
Agreed.
Even when you're emotionally, because when we're having emotional issues, when our moods, mental health issues, eating healthy and exercise always go right out the window. I think every client I've worked with, that's happened. And me. And my sister says that too. I don't know if you notice that with your clients. I don't know what clientele, like age group you work with.
Yeah, so I'm not actively working as a personal trainer currently. I found it was just too much to balance
yeah.
with everything else.
Yeah.
So with yoga, I see quite a range, but I'd say it's usually 20s to 40s.
Okay.
Yeah, around
Yeah.
that age range.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a client, she was 83 and joined a yoga class. And she was like, oh, I love it. I'm going to yoga today. And I'm like,
Yes.
that is fabulous.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I love
So what differences do you notice between yoga and other forms of exercise when it comes to mental well-being?
I think one of the key differences between yoga and other forms of movement is that there is a lot of emphasis in yoga on your mental wellness as well. And that's usually through breathing techniques. There's a huge emphasis on linking your movement with your breath. At the beginning of the practice, you'll usually take a moment just to acknowledge how are you feeling mentally and physically, and maybe it's different today than it was yesterday, and that's okay. There's also, I try to emphasize, this isn't a competition. We're here to support each other. We're not competing in poses against each other like you might be on a team sport or in a competition. So there's no competitiveness with other people in yoga, which plays into your mental health as well. And then with yoga at the end, you take time to lie there in Shavasana, corpse pose.
Okay.
And you're just kind of lying there and you're noticing, okay, how do I feel? I'm not moving. The room is quiet. How do I feel right now after the past, 60 minutes or whatever of yoga? And you don't really do that at the end of a strength training workout or the end of a soccer game. Your teammates might give you kind of a funny look if you were just lying there, but you take time to just take it in. And I've tried to apply that now. I got a massage recently, and after the massage, I was like, you know what? I'm going to lie here for a bit and just take in what was just done and notice how I feel with that. So I think that's really special with yoga, and you don't find that in other forms of movement.
No, and I think it's so important because we are like such a always on, high-paced, instant gratification society, right? We are go, passing each other, and to be able to have that time. And I think it's really important that you said that it's, it's not a competition, and it's not, because I often hear, and myself, because I'm not really flexible. I always joke like I'm the Tin Man. But I still try it. But I think that what you said is really important because people see yoga as being able to do all these crazy moves, and I think it's so much more than that. Like the breath work, the just like when you said connecting breath with movement, and just that zen, like just being in your own space.
I also try to encourage people at the beginning of a practice to set an intention or focus for your practice and to put aside everything else in your life, put it in a little box at the corner of your mat. You can come back to it after, but for this hour, you're focusing on how you feel holistically.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. In your bio that you sent us to, you mentioned pursuing therapy and personal growth. How did those experiences shape who you are today?
Wow. Therapy to me was something I needed to do. I suffer from anxiety in many aspects of my life, and I wanted to I could handle it through movement. That was kind of my fix for anxiety. But sometimes there were times when I would have an anxiety attack and I couldn't just go run it off. I had to sit through it and kind of battle through what I was feeling. And I wanted to be able to understand why I was feeling a certain way and why didn't other people get this way? Like, was there something wrong with me? So I wanted to understand scientifically what's going on. So I did seek out a therapist, and I continue to pursue therapy because I think it's really important.
Yeah, I think, and not just because I am a therapist, but therapists see therapists, right? Yeah. I think that and I have a lot of people in my world, clients and in my personal life who see therapists that say, I think everyone should see. Just to have that, non-judgmental person to and we have this expertise that I know when I explain certain things to clients, like how your brain works in the stress response and what it does to your body, 9 times out of 10 people are like, what? You know, and I just did it on Thursday and a client was like, well, that explains it. Yes. It was very, people don't understand. So if you're trying to figure out why, and I've had clients too where I'll explain things and I said, I can't diagnose as a psychotherapist, but those are symptoms of social anxiety. Yeah. And one in particular went home and asked their partner, when I leave the house and then 20 minutes later you hear sirens, they live in the city, 20 minutes later, do you worry that it's me? And their partner's like, no. and they were like, no? I thought everybody did. And when I explained it, they said to me, I just thought everybody thought that way, right? They didn't know the difference. So I think that's great that you sought that out. And it was nice to be able, with the type of therapy I had done too, she was kind of, providing explanations for why I do things the way that I do. Yeah. And it's interesting to be able to understand it. For sure. Yeah. For sure. And, I do cognitive behavior therapy and trauma EMDR therapy. And I like it because it explains things. Yes. And I don't start, a lot of times cognitive behavior therapy starts from now to change the behaviors, I dig a little bit in the past.
Yep.
Because human nature is, we need to understand, we need to close some of those loops, and we need to understand why we're doing it. And it's usually, I'm not going to get into all of it here, but like your core belief and past experiences, the messages that you received, that kind of thing. So you also talked a little bit to us about training a rescue dog. What surprised you about that journey?
Oh my gosh, I'm still surprised by that journey, I think. Yeah, I have an amazing rescue dog. I volunteer at a rescue shelter, and that's where I met this
In your spare
dog.
time?
I know. It's too
You're
much.
like, I'm busy.
But if I'm not busy, I go crazy. So yes. Yeah, she's amazing. She, unfortunately, a lot of people didn't want to adopt her, so she didn't show very well. So, but I knew her, and I had worked with her when I go into volunteer. So anyway, I eventually decided that I was going to adopt her. They were going to send her somewhere else, and I went, no, you're going to come with me.
Yeah.
What's shocked me about that experience, I think, with her, it's interesting just to see how, if you're in a stressful environment, how that can totally change how you are. And I think this is true for people too, versus taking her out of that environment, letting her decompress and kind of discover the world, because her world was really small when she was in a kennel versus in the real world, and how she's kind of come into her own. So watching this creature discover how big the world is and kind of relax and come into her true personality has been really amazing and rewarding and difficult, and I've learned a lot. But yeah,
about your own resilience, coping.
Yeah,
too?
I think so. I've poured my heart and soul into this dog because she has issues and challenges that other dogs might not have, because of her past was a really hard situation, and we've had to overcome that together, and we're still learning. So it's just kind of another skill I'm learning, and I'm learning more about animals and dogs, and yeah, it's rewarding though, for sure.
Yeah. Do you find that, because animals are so intuitive?
Yes.
Do you find that it helps control your anxiety because you have to, because she would,
Yeah.
her anxiety would feed off yours and vice versa?
Hugely. She can sense if I'm really tense, and if a situation's about to happen and I'm worried about how she's going to react, like, she can feel that. So I'm trying to learn to tell myself, calm down, because she will know, even if she's not looking at me, like, she will know.
She can feel it.
She can feel it. So hugely. And then of course she's a comfort to me too. If I'm, I don't know, stressed about something or anxious, she can comfort me as well, which is really amazing.
That's so,
Yeah.
They're so intuitive. Like, I had a cat, and he would know if I was upset, or I lost my father a couple of years ago, and I would just there was trauma involved with it, and I could feel myself starting to panic.
Yes.
And as soon as I started to feel it, he was on my lap and like hitting my chin with his head and stuff. And I had a client, I was doing trauma therapy, and it was online, and they started to get upset. All of a sudden, their cat jumped up on the sofa, came up behind them, and like on their shoulders, and started purring. I could hear it in the thing, and like doing this against them. And it was, and they said, can I like my cat stay in here? Yes.
Yeah, a therapy cat.
Therapy cat. Yes. So
oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
Okay. I think that, with having a rescue animal and having to deal with your own mental health issues while dealing with their mental health issues and their traumas, but a lot of rescue animals have traumas. I think that it really helps build self-efficacy and resilience in us.
Yes. I mean, I had a traumatic experience with a previous dog, and I this dog was my way to make things right again in the world. And I think that, it's been huge for that. There have been moments where I have broken down completely with my dog out of frustration.
Yeah.
But then there's been amazing moments, we're learning how to dog sled. We do ratting courses, like really cool dog sports that we do. So there's ups and downs with it.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, she's my family, and
absolutely. So is she a
pros
husky?
outweigh the cons. She is I think she's like a Rottweiler mixed with a German Shepherd, but she's got soft floppy ears, and she's really, really cute. Yeah.
Very cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
My son is a husky, and that's why I was asking.
She might have a bit of husky in her. I'm really not sure. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you said dog sledding, I was
Yes, I know.
husky?
Of course.
So, I mean, it sounds like you've had a very active, goal-oriented life, right? Which is amazing. I think that even like saying we're dog sledding and I think you might be a little bit of my spirit animal in a way. In that Lily always we always joke with each other because I'm like, yeah, I'll try that. Yeah, I'll do that, right?
I'm like that too.
Yeah, it's, yeah, and my brain's going 100 miles an hour, and I'm always doing something.
Yes.
Were there moments in your life where your goals or path didn't go as planned? And how did you navigate that?
It's interesting you asked me that because I feel like I'm at a point in my life professionally where I'm kind of reevaluating things and questioning, am I doing what I should be doing? Because, I have my passion for fitness and athletics on one side and then my professional career. Mm-hmm. But I kind of wish those two would marry because I wish I had the passion that I have for my, wellness and fitness world. I wish I could apply that to my real job, which totally I struggle with now. So that's kind of something I'm battling. But were goals, sorry, the question was?
Were there moments in your life where your goals or path didn't go as planned? So this too. And how did you navigate it?
Yeah, I think for me, just what comes to mind is injury. As an athlete and an active person, my setbacks are often related to injury, just my body kind of going, you know what, we're doing too much. We need to tone it down a little bit. I've had issues with my knees. My goal, I had a big goal. I was like, I want to run. I wanted to do a marathon. And I was like, no, we're going to cut it back. Let's do a 10-kilometer run. Yeah. And so I was training very, very hard for this to get a really good time for a 10-kilometer run. And ultimately, my body said, we can't do distance running. We can do shorter runs. So that was difficult. Just when you have a goal and you're like, I'm very goal-oriented. And when I have a goal, I'm going to do that goal. So, and I still want to be able to do that goal. But for now, it's not a reality. Yeah. So sometimes it's just, okay, can we find a new goal? Can we do a fast 5K? Can we modify the goal slightly or just maybe come back to that at a time in your life when it's more realistic? So it's a challenge, though, I think mentally, and having to come to terms with that can be really difficult because I think it's really good and important to have goals and it gives you something to be motivated towards. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's amazing, and it really syncs with what I talk about on this podcast all the time.
Good.
And we talk about goals, and if you have all these ambitions, we just talked about that, I think it was the last podcast, we did, ambitions, and I said, you don't have to do everything at once.
Yeah.
Right? And if you can't do something, I'm very goal-oriented as well, and if you can't do something, then what's something that you can do that's within that goal range,
yes,
right? Or steps to achieve it. And physically, if you can't do something because of injury, okay, let's pivot.
Yes.
It doesn't mean you get rid of goals. You just, do them when you can or do something similar that you're able to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think that goals, I think sometimes people have goals that are like their expectations are high.
Yeah.
And so in my profession too, I'm always like, okay, so let's break this down, right?
Yes.
I'm doing sports psychology right now with competitive athletes because I combine my passions. That's why I was like...
amazing. I know. I love
that. So that's one thing that we do too is, so I get them to do their long-term goals, and right now I have like a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old, and baseball and competitive baseball, like already preparing for scouting and stuff.
Wow.
And competitive barrel racing.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was so fun.
Barrel racing, can you just explain that a little?
So on a horse and go around.
Okay.
You know how they have to go around the barrels? And,
yes.
Yeah, and this client won't mind if she won't mind if I do it, talk about her a little bit, but Yeah, she's hilarious. She's 11, and this kid is spunky, and I laugh, and I don't know barrel racing. I know baseball.
Yeah.
I don't know barrel racing. And so I took the stuff that I had done for the baseball player and put it into Chat GPT to make it barrel racing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying it to her, and she goes, looks at me, and she goes, her mom's in here with her. She looks at me and she goes, "You so Chat GPT that." And I was like, I definitely did. I'm
Oh my
looking over
God.
there because she always sits on that side of the couch, but I'm like, I definitely did. I don't know this stuff. Like, so, yeah. And so I always talk about, if that's your long-term goal, that's a pretty high expectation. So what's something that you can do within that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I mean, the barrel racer, she's 11, and she's like in North America top, I can't remember, like 11th or something. Like, and she competes against adults. Yeah,
Wow.
she's good. We may see her on TV someday.
Yes, I'm sure.
I told her when that happens, she better remember me and how I helped her focus and everything for this. So, what have some of your biggest growth moments come from? Do you think success, or struggle?
Wow. I struggle, I think. If, what's freshest in my mind right now is I'm injured and I'm still kind of working through it. I have a slipped or subluxated rib.
Oh,
And I think that injury has taught me a lot because I had to dial back in
yeah.
my life, but it affected everything. It affected my yoga teaching, my current job, my athletics, walking my dog. Like, for a while, I couldn't do any of it. It was a cold stop, and that was the most severe kind of cold stop that I've had to do in my life. I'm still working through it. I work with a fantastic chiropractor. Can I call out my chiropractor? Is
Yeah,
that okay?
sure.
Okay. Dr. Riley Hayter in Barhaven has been working with me, and honestly, mentally, he helps a lot too, because he goes, you have to give your body the time to rest now so that you can come back to it eventually and not, make things worse. So it's hard to go to a cold stop. Anyone that's ever been injured or had a setback would understand that. But I think it's helping me when you go through these struggles, and when I've gone through, traumas in the past, it's horrible. But if someone comes to you with that in their own life, you can kind of identify with that, relate to it, be more empathetic because you understand it. So I think
100%.
as I'm nearing the end of this battle, but I've learned from it. I was miserable for the past few weeks in it, but I'm coming out stronger because of it.
For sure. I mean, pain, I'm sure, and not
Yeah.
being able to do. Yeah, I think that struggles, obviously we learn and we grow from successes, but struggles,
Yeah.
working through them, figuring them out,
Yes.
we really grow.
You learn. I mean, I just bought my first house, and
Oh,
leading up to that,
congratulations.
thank you. And that's amazing. It's like, wow, you did that. It's a great goal. You did it. But I had a really hard time. It was just me kind of figuring out this process, and there were major issues nearing that closing. And I thought I was going to, have a breakdown. I
Yeah.
did have a few breakdowns,
Yeah,
but
that's
I've
okay.
learned so much. I know now if anyone else were to buy like a new build home, I could be helpful in that situation. I've learned from it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to go through it again, but I've learned because of it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Your answer is a great segue to the next segment.
Cool.
It's about injuries.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to talk about it because it's something that athletes struggle with,
Yeah.
but they rarely discuss openly.
Yeah.
And injury and identity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you recently experienced this injury, setback,
Yeah.
and you've talked about how that experience, like emotionally as well as physically.
Mm-hmm.
And when your main outlet for stress is taken away,
Yeah.
how do you cope? Like, I know that, obviously you couldn't do the yoga teaching, but is there a mental part to it that you could still do that could center you? And
Yes. Yeah, and that was actually part of my treatment was, I was being encouraged to do this deep breath work because of where my injury is located. It was important
Yeah.
for the ribs. So I was still doing breath work, and it was interesting because I'm like, oh, I'm used to this from my yoga.
Yes.
Now I just have to do it lying at home in my bed, before going to sleep, doing those kind of deep belly breaths.
Yeah.
So that was an element actually of kind of the recovery phase. Me being me, I was still kind of doing like some light stretching. Like I was still really trying to move my body in some ways, but for a while I really couldn't do anything, and that was challenging for sure. Yeah.
Do you think partly too because your identity, like your
Yes.
identity is
Yes.
being active, and
Yes.
obviously there's much more to our identities than one aspect of us, but not being able to do something you identify with is really difficult.
Oh my gosh, it's extremely difficult because yes, there are more parts to my identity, but that's
Yeah.
a huge piece of me. And my biggest
Yeah.
fear in life has always been, oh my gosh, what if something happens to me and I can no longer do these activities?
Yeah.
How will I cope with that? So yeah, it's
Yeah.
a hard thing.
Yeah. Did you discover anything in there? The therapist in me is coming out.
Yeah.
Did you discover anything in there that you could do instead?
Did I discover anything that I could do? This is not the answer you want. I was really just trying to work towards doing the things
Yeah.
that I used to do.
Yeah.
So it really just looked like a dialed back version of everything. And I was speaking with my mom one day, and she scolded me. She's like, "You have to stop. Like you have to slow down." And I was like, "You don't understand. I have slowed down. To you, it looks like I'm still doing." These forms of movement, but it's, to me, I know that it's actually really dialed down. I'm,
Yeah.
working on pulling in a band rather than pulling heavy weight, just to mimic the moves that I wanted to be able to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you said it's not the answer I want to hear, but it's actually the answer I wanted to hear.
Okay.
Because it goes right in with, therapy and what I was talking about earlier, that if you can't do what you can.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
And so even
Yeah.
though you did find something, you didn't sit on the couch and feel sorry for
No.
yourself and go into a depression, which happens, and that's not anybody's fault. That's brain chemistry that happens in those times, but you modified.
Yes.
And of course your mom's going to tell you not
Of
to,
course.
because that's what we moms do,
course.
right?
No, and I mean, I modified, and eventually my sister's a physiotherapist. She was who recommended the chiropractor. So eventually working with a professional was
Yeah.
hugely helpful because it made me feel like I was making steps. He gave me tools, I'm taped in place right now so that I
Yeah.
can move comfortably and not worry about any discomfort.
Yeah.
So professionals can give you support so that you don't have to suffer so much through the hard times.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that's a coping. You were
Yeah.
doing adaptive coping
Okay. Cool.
as opposed to maladaptive coping that people often do in those moments. So that's amazing. What did this experience teach you about your resilience and self-compassion?
Yeah, it's funny because I always find it's so much easier to be compassionate to other people. I'm an empathetic person to begin with, and I like, being there for other people and being supportive. It's really hard to do it to yourself.
Yes.
And it's, I also suffer with that with, I can tell, I kind of encourage people to be calm and zen, but in my life it's kind of chaotic. It's not super calm or zen. So it's really hard. It's interesting, I should say, when you can kind of preach this to other people, but to do it yourself is a whole other beast. Yeah.
I always joke with people, you know how the plumber's house always has leaks and the
Yes.
carpenter's house, the therapist, yeah.
Exactly.
It's the same type of thing, right? It's much
Yeah.
easier to say to a client, just have a helicopter view and look, and then you're
Yes.
going through it. My sister, I remember one time I was going through it. I can't remember what it was now. And I called her and I was like, oh my God. And she goes, just do that CBT stuff that you tell other people. I'm like, helpful, thanks, tips.
It's the last thing you want to do, right? Like, yeah.
Just do that stuff you tell other people to do.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It helps though, because then you can understand why some people might struggle with it, It makes you more
Absolutely.
aware of, okay, it's not actually like an easy thing to do, and when you've actually been in their shoes too. So
Absolutely. And
yeah.
I actually love that you're so honest and authentic about you're a registered yoga instructor, and we stereotype that you're always like, oh, and you're saying, basically, yeah, there's times I'm a hot mess.
Yes.
And I'm just go, go, go. And
Yes.
so there's that side of it that, yeah, that's because you're human,
Yes.
right? But the other side of it too, you must find, and I don't know because the yoga side of it's not my life, but do you find that because you're so go, 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 and like I think you are my spirit animal because I'm go, go, go too. My brain is like, right? And then, so I always say to my clients, yeah, I'm a hot mess.
Yeah.
And sometimes I joke and I say, I'm in charge of your mental health right now. You don't realize that. Do you find though that because I know that when I practice my mindfulness, when I kind of take my time and do my self-care, it's like this huge exhale, right? Because I live such a busy life. Do you find that when you're doing your yoga, like maybe even more than the average person, because do you find that it's like,
Yeah, I mean, I've started teaching a lunchtime yoga class. It's just a few steps from my workplace, so it's interesting because I'm kind of turning off my work brain and then switching to my yoga brain. But I always feel after that class, we do like a breathing exercise at the end. I usually end with 3 really deep breaths, and we just talk about letting everything go with your breath. And I feel that too, even though I'm not a participant in the class. Even by leading that exercise, I walk away with that sense of kind of lightness, and I feel more grounded and I feel more calm. I think that's the power of the breath, but also from the movement practice too. It all relates. So I definitely feel that after. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that breath work, like I don't think people take it as seriously as they should or understand. I mean, I say this to clients all the time. Humans are horrible breathers.
Yeah.
Right? Like we hold our breath so often. We that rapid breathing, which is all attached to the nervous system and stuff too. But I did a breath work class. My sister next door, she had someone who did breath work, and so she asked my staff to go over so that we could, and at first I was like, okay, like and we were doing it, and when we first started it, I couldn't shut off my brain because I have ADHD, and my brain goes 100 miles an hour, and I was like, as we're doing, I'm like, I have so many things to do tonight. I need to go and do this and this and this, and I'm trying to breathe, and then I started to really, and this was, I think it was about 8 months after my dad died, or 9 months after my dad died, and my sister obviously was in it too, and both of us, then when we started to get into it, and then I could feel myself, like, when I was really focusing on the breath, and then she touched my shoulder, and I don't get emotional very often, it's a job hazard, and it was like, whoosh, like, we had a face, like an eye mask on, and it was wet, after, and I was like, whoa.
Oh, it's powerful.
It is so powerful, and just, we were doing, like, the different levels, and it was, like, earth and fire, and, and it was, and she had, like, the music thing going. But it was so powerful, and she went around the room, like, with a talking stick kind of thing, people explained, and I couldn't even talk. I was like, yeah, that was a lot. And
I know, it's incredible. And you mentioned the music. We use like singing sound bowls and gongs, and I remember I had taken a class with she's actually a registered massage therapist, but she does sound healing therapy as well. And she was playing these instruments at the end of the massage, and I remember just it was strange because my body had actually arched to the sound, like my heart was lifting, and I ended with my back arched because it was kind of drawn to the sound, but I was really emotional.
Right?
And I was like, what am I doing? Am I crazy? Like, what? So it's powerful, and music and breath and it all, when it comes together, like, it's really amazing.
Yeah. I said, I want to do that again, but not in a whole group of people.
Exactly. Yes, I get that.
Just because I'm, like, more private with that stuff.
Yes, and that's okay.
But that's also, I mean, I'm private with that stuff, but there was my staff was in there, which that doesn't bother me, but also, it's another job hazard as a therapist, because we're supposed to have it all together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Just like how the stereotype of yoga instructors, stuff,
Yes.
like they're always zen and they're always,
Yes.
you know, and therapists always have their stuff together, and that is so not true.
Yeah.
I mean,
But it doesn't mean that you can't help other people or
yeah,
guide other people,
absolutely.
right? So, yeah.
I think that you can help other people more.
Yes, agreed.
When you're not. So I wanted to talk about some goal stuff, but we have talked a lot about goals and pressures and that sort of thing. Do you have any advice that you would give to somebody who feels discouraged or stuck in their progress? Like even with yoga and how I'm not bendy, right? And I get very frustrated. Do you have any suggestions for people out there that, or advice?
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of a misconception about yoga, is that I have to be bendy to attend this yoga class. It's not. No. It's really not. In fact, it will help you get bendy, but you don't need to be bendy right away. I was not bendy when I started yoga. I was active, but I wasn't super flexible or anything. So what's nice with yoga and with other, forms of activity is that there's levels too. You can choose. You don't have to choose the hot power flow. You can choose a more beginner friendly class or even a workshop where it breaks down the poses. So, or it doesn't have to be a physical practice either. It could be a breath work workshop. That's a form of meditation. Yes. So I think that's what's nice with yoga, is that you can choose, depending where you're at currently, choose where you want to start that journey. Yeah.
And what about the, the personal training side of things?
Yeah.
If people are stuck in progress.
Yeah, well, that's what's really great about working with a personal trainer, or, even if you are not working with a personal trainer, maybe it's a friend who's been going to the gym or going to classes and you start taking classes with them. That can be motivating, but, I've lost my train of thought. What was the question? Sorry, I was like...
If somebody gets stuck in their personal training progress, what is some information or some advice you would give them to?
They're stuck in their personal training process, or
like
just in their
health, like
in their health,
in their physical health, like if they're doing strength training. Sorry,
they're
doing strength.
Because I was going to say that's where it can be really great to work with a personal trainer if they are stuck. Because sometimes, it's looking at why are you stuck? Is it a lack of motivation to do the thing? Or is it maybe you didn't have a great plan leading up to whatever your goal was? Do you have a goal? Do you need a goal? So I think working with someone can help kind of address those questions. If they're stuck. Yeah. And I think sometimes they talk about, just even if you're not in the gym, maybe you're reflecting and thinking about, okay, I want to get to the gym. It's kind of this journey even to get yourself to go to the class or to the place. So I think it's very normal, but the reward is huge when you start doing it. And it's not realistic to expect to be amazing right away. Nobody is. And even people that have gone for their whole, for years and years, they're still working on something. Like it might change along the lines, but yeah.
For sure, and I think that, we have plateaus and stuff too, and I think, I mean, I don't have a personal trainer, but my sister's a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And she works, obviously she has staff that are personal trainers. My brother was a CrossFit teacher for many years, and so when I do get stuck, then I have somebody to, motivate me, and so I think that it is really important, and I hear stories about it all the time, right?
Yeah.
You get, especially, again, I talk about perimenopause a lot, but women in perimenopause, when it feels like your body's betraying you and everything you used to do doesn't work, you actually gain weight, and it's, I think that having somebody, my sister's also a certified menopause coach, so she incorporates the two, but having somebody that can say, no, it's okay. Yeah. Like, let's rejig it and do this instead, where if you don't have a personal trainer, and I'm not telling everyone to go out there and grab a personal trainer. I'm just saying that it's helpful, right?
Yeah.
To have, you said having somebody, a professional with expertise, like for the chiropractor and stuff, it's the same. It's the same when you're working out. Yes.
But I mean, even again, if you're not with a personal trainer, maybe it's a friend. Just a motivator is huge to get your foot in the door, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I say personal trainer as professional because there's things that I wouldn't have known how to do, or
Yes.
the difference and stuff when I first started training and working out if my sister didn't help me.
Yes.
Right? Because she had that knowledge
Yeah.
of, and I see people at the gym sometimes working out, not when I used to go to the gym, working out and just the form and everything, and I'm like,
Yes.
you're gonna hurt yourself.
And you notice that now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all need somebody.
Definitely. Like you said, the therapist has a therapist, the yoga
Yeah.
teacher. I have a yoga teacher. I
Yeah.
worked with many personal trainers, and that was game changing for me. Now
Yeah.
I am confident in the gym and I know what I'm doing, but I needed that support, right?
Yeah. All right. So getting into yoga a little bit more. You have spoken about it here, obviously, and but you have talked about some of the misconceptions. But who is yoga really for? Are there misconceptions about who can or should do yoga? You
Yeah.
have said that anyone, but just to expand on it a little bit.
Yeah, because, yeah, exactly. Like I said previously, I mean, people think you have to be bendy or active to do yoga, but you really don't. So it is for everyone. I think what it comes down to is just what are you looking for? Maybe yoga isn't even what you need to be doing. Some people go, I've tried it, didn't love it. Maybe it's the instructor's approach. That's okay too. Maybe
Yeah.
you just need to try working with someone else. So yoga is fantastic for complementing other forms of movement. I don't think it should be your only form of movement
No.
because you can build strength to an extent, but eventually with strength you need to have more resistance, more load, more weight, and yoga's body weight. So it can give you really nice foundations, but I do think it should be done to complement strength training and, long walks or runs, whatever you might do for your heart. But yeah, it is for everybody, but some people, it might not be right for them at the moment either, like depending on their body and what's going on, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I said I had an 83-year-old client who
Yes.
did yoga. And when I used to work in the school system as a counselor and a behaviorist, and we had, CHIO actually had a psychologist that created a little program, can't remember what it's called now, but, and that had different yoga poses and stuff for kids to
Yes.
do when they were, for regulation and that kind of thing. And so I would get classes and or one-on-one kids, and we would do some of them too.
Kids are amazing at yoga. I did a class once with Girl Guides, and it was like an animal-based class. So it was it was fun. It was themed, but kids are amazing.
These were animal-based things
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, just to make it kind of more interesting for them. They might not appreciate a 60-minute class,
Yeah, no.
maybe a shorter class, but often with yoga classes, actually, you do have to be, I'm not sure if it's like this anymore. It depends where you go, but it's often you have to be 18 to take the regular yoga classes, but there are some more kid-friendly classes too, but they're amazing. They're very flexible.
I was just going to say, they're flexible. Like my granddaughter sits there and puts her foot up on her head and stuff, and I'm like,
I know.
What are you doing?
And they don't even need to do yoga, right? Like, they're just like,
yeah. Or she'll go, like, bend down and I'm like, what do you...
Yes.
Hands flat on the ground, leg up in the air.
Oh, yeah. So they're very good at the postures, but they can also benefit from the mental aspects, too, and learning that from a young age.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that at a young age. I was definitely not really aware. Like, I knew I was kind of a shy, anxious kid, but I didn't have coping strategies for that. So,
yeah, that was part of it, was the emotion and everything that we started doing with them. Are there any challenges that modern yoga teachers face today that people might not realize?
Challenges that modern teachers face? I mean, yes, there are challenges. I mean, sometimes with anything, there's overload, right? If you're teaching too much and then you're kind of not engaged or present with your class. I think an interesting kind of question that I face often is when kind of teachers are teaching perhaps outdated.
That was my next thing, traditional versus
modern.
Versus
kind of modern. Yeah, because I think we know a lot more now about movement in the body. And if, like me, you've done personal training and strength training, you have a good understanding of that and more of the anatomy side versus some of the traditional yoga teachings are very like not based on science or evidence or backed up or even true. They're myths. They are not
like
true.
so many things.
So many. And it's based out of fear mongering. And if you do a back bend and then you don't counter it right away, you're going to snap your spine. Like it's very fear based. And unfortunately, in a lot of yoga teacher trainings, people learn this and then they go and repeat it. And or they're teaching outside of their scope. It's like, you're not a medical doctor. You can't help with that injury. Like you need to, so take a step back. So I think there's some issues there with yoga in particular where that we see that happen a lot. But it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, psychology, if you think of some of the traditional treatments and stuff, like electroshock and, which they still have, but it's a lot different. Just anything.
Yeah.
That it's funny when you traditional and fear mongering, and I saw a TikTok video. I'm a Gen Xer, obviously, and it was about things our parents told us growing up.
Yes.
And I was laughing because I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
Like if you swallow gum, it'll stay there for 7 years.
Yes.
If you cross your eyes, they'll stay like that.
Stuck.
There were so many things.
So true.
I remember my parents saying it. We didn't do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We were so afraid, right? But so many things that traditional in so many different areas.
But we need to be questioning these things, right? And that's good. As long as you're questioning and asking and not just accepting these blanket statements, that's when we're on the right track.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For somebody who, and you have touched upon this a bit, but I know a lot of people who are intimidated by yoga, which is kind of the opposite of what you want because...
I know, yeah.
But for someone who is intimidated by yoga, what would you want them to know?
I think what's really nice with yoga is that it's not competitive, but the group setting can be very uplifting. You don't need to go in the front of the room. You can go in the back. You can take your space, depending on the room setup. Yeah. But you can also learn from the people around you and go, okay, I don't know what the teacher's doing, but what's my partner next door doing? So that can be really helpful, just the group community. And that's true in many aspects. If you go to the gym and have a nice community or I don't know, it's helpful, I think, when you're with other people. I think it's just like... Us working with personal trainer, we're your biggest fan. We're your biggest support. We want to help you. Yep. If I see someone in a yoga class who doesn't know, or is what the poses should look like, you can give them that support. It's different from taking a video course where you might not be able to interact with the instructor. So that's what's really nice. I would encourage them, if they can, to go to an in-person class. Rather than the virtual class, just so that you can work directly with this instructor or whoever it may be. Mm-hmm. So that's important. We always say, you take it at your own pace. What's nice with yoga, you get many options, modifications. We have props. We can use props, meaning, blocks or tools to facilitate. So there's not you have to do it this way. If you can't do it this way, you're kicked out of the class. No, it's a journey. I couldn't do a handstand when I started. It's a very long process to get to that handstand or whatever it is you want to do. So
you'd be strapping my ankles from something. It's the only way I'm handstanding.
But hey, we're mimicking it, right? And you might feel amazing. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So you do strength training, you do yoga. How do they complement each other physically and mentally?
Mm-hmm. I didn't get strong from yoga. I really got into strength training because there were certain yoga poses that I went, you know what, I actually need more strength for this. How can I get more strength? I need to go to the gym. I need to lift weights, which brought me into personal training. And that's where I got really into it because I was motivated working one-on-one with amazing trainers. So they do go hand in hand. I wasn't strong enough just by doing yoga on its own. I could do a lot of great poses, but not the ones that I was working towards getting. And then again, with the gym, if you're doing a deadlift or something and you don't have great, flexibility through your hamstrings, that's helped me because yes, I can touch my toes and I can move my body in these ways that are helpful for when I'm lifting weights too.
Yeah.
So they just go hand in hand. Yeah.
They do, yeah. I've actually never thought about that before
Yeah.
this podcast.
Yeah.
Just how, like, just when you just said about deadlifts and how the hamstrings and everything, I've never really thought about how the two of them, obviously I know like stretching and stuff helps,
Yeah.
obviously, but yeah, that's really interesting. See, I learn all the time. Have you seen benefits in your students that do both?
I mean, I had a few
Clients?
students when I was working as a personal trainer and yoga teacher at the same time. I had a few that I was like, hey, like come
Yeah.
come train with me at the gym too, because you know you
Yeah.
really want to be able to do this crow pose. It's 2 hands are on the ground. It's an arm balance, and then your feet are off the ground, and you're kind of crouched like a crow. Anyway, it takes a lot of strength.
Yeah, nope.
Yeah. But I was like, hey, like, I see you really working towards that pose, like, but we need to work a bit on your upper body strength to be able to get you there. So let's work on some strength training too, and that can really help you. So yes, I have clients that do
Seen the
both.
benefits,
Yeah, as well, like people that maybe do team sports and, you know, hockey players. I had a
Yeah.
hockey player once, and he was like, I'm super tight in my groin. What are some like really good stretches and flows that I can do? So, and yeah, so yoga
Yeah.
helps with that too.
Yeah. Moving on to your teaching and the impact that it has on you too.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most rewarding part of teaching for you?
Yeah. I think for me, and it's the same as when I was doing personal training, but it's seeing someone do something that they didn't think they could do. And sometimes that's a really long journey and
Yeah.
process, and it can be frustrating. But when they eventually can do it or do a variation of it,
Yeah.
and they're so happy, and they're like, oh my God, you feel that too. And you're kind of like, wow, it's amazing. And it's very
100%.
uplifting. So I think that's really cool to see.
Yeah. It's, do you find that like if you're tired and things, you know, get rough or whatever, those are the things that are like, this is why I do this.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think that, you know, the most rewarding part of being a therapist,
Yeah.
and it's that, right? It's being a psychotherapist it's heavy. I
Yeah.
don't get sunshine and rainbows.
Yep.
But when a client comes in and says, do you know what I did? You know, or I get an email because they couldn't wait till session to tell me.
Yeah.
That is like the yes.
Yes.
And on those hard days, because I do trauma too, so it's really heavy, those hard days, and I get someone who comes in and I've had a client just start to cry because we did EMDR and their cognition of themselves. They said, I am worthy, and it's the first time they ever said that in their life, and they're in their 60s, right? And they just start to cry, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Not because they're crying, because yes, they, you know, that I think that is
Yeah.
just having somebody see that potential in themselves.
I mean, it's nice too, being on the other side of that. I mean, last week I emailed my chiropractor and I said, I just did walking lunges for the first time in like 8 weeks. And I was so excited. And it was nice to have someone to share it with.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So just being able to talk about it and kind of
Yeah.
celebrate together can be
Yeah,
really
that's
nice.
a cool perspective too.
Yeah.
I never think of that. I just think of,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I see their excitement in there, but I never think of how they feel telling me
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but not how you just said it.
Yeah.
Right? It's,
Yeah. It's a shared excitement. And I think
Yeah.
that's really cool.
yeah, because no matter what who the professional or what they're doing in working with you, whether it's yoga or personal training or chiropractor or psychotherapist, physiotherapist,
Yeah.
they're in that journey with you,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And I always tell my clients, you're doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
I'm helping you with your journey,
Yes.
right? So
100%.
yeah, that's so cool. So would you say that those are the moments that remind you why you chose this path, or do you have other moments that remind you? why you
Those are
chose this
probably,
path?
like, those are really rewarding moments. Not everything is amazing and rainbows and sunshine and celebrations,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
sometimes people can be vulnerable, you know, and they
Yeah.
open up to you too if they trust you and confide in you, and that can be really tough too. I don't know. I guess it can be comforting knowing that they were comfortable enough to talk to you and come to you, but there's definitely challenges with that as well if you don't feel equipped to help with perhaps what they're bringing up to you, right? Mm-hmm. So, but that's also part of it, fostering human connection with your clients and with the people that you see and that come to your classes or whatnot. So,
sure.
yeah, and it makes the
Building
good
that rapport.
moments even better sometimes because you've seen them through the really hard times. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So how do you stay motivated in to support others when you are struggling yourself?
Yeah. I think I kind of mentioned it earlier. I find it easier to support others. I'm excited to support others, less so to do that to myself. I separate the two, to be honest. If I'm, working with someone, the focus is really on them. It's not on me.
Yep.
But it is important to take care of yourself too. I take yoga classes with an instructor that I love, and that motivates me because I learn from her. So continuously learning is something that I need, and questioning things as well, and so then I can bring that to my students and clients. But it can be hard. But ultimately, I do kind of separate the two. Like, I want to be helping these people. That's very separate from my own issues and life. So, yeah.
Okay. That's it's not easy to do sometimes, so that's
Yeah.
a really good way to look at it. Especially, when you've experienced the injury that you have,
Yeah.
and then you have to go out and say, okay, let's do this thing.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, the past few weeks, actually, that has been very difficult. I told people, I'm like, I'm not going to be demoing as much here, but people are very understanding, which is good, because we're all human. They've probably gone through something similar. Who knows?
Sure.
So it's kind of good when you do show them that you're a bit human, and you know what? I'm not perfect. Look what happened to me. And that can be helpful, actually, because, you're not this perfect being. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I think that I know for myself, when I was going through the trauma that I was, the only time I felt normal was when I was in here with clients.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Because it wasn't about me. It wasn't
Exactly.
about my trauma, my issues, and I could be fully in with that client and help them, because for that hour, I didn't have to think about,
Exactly.
my brain was not bringing up visuals and stuff. And
Yes.
that was, So I think that
Huge.
it's very important when you're struggling to be able to separate, no matter what. It doesn't have to be therapy.
Yeah.
Obviously with therapy, it's very important.
Yes.
I can't have my clients therapizing me, but therapizing is my word.
I was going to say, I don't think I've heard that.
No, that's my word. I say that all the time. But even, no matter what you do, to be able to separate that, it's not easy, but it's really important.
Yeah, I mean, I taught a class last week, and that was the first time where I taught it pain-free, and I just remember after the class, I was so uplifted after the class, and I always am, and it always improves my mood, so you do walk away feeling a bit better because you haven't thought about your own issues during that time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
and you
sure.
can't, because if you are, then you're taking away from the person that you're working with, right?
That's right.
You can't, so.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my belief as a mental health professional, and this is my belief, and in life in general, it's that people don't need perfect role models. They need real ones.
Yes. I love that.
Do you think that people need role models or real ones? Perfect role models or real ones?
I think I use kind of the phrase down to earth a lot, but I think it's important that, the role model is real. They are human. They are down to earth. They experience pain and suffering and good emotions too.
Yeah.
But I think, and that's important so that you can, again, understand and empathize with people that you're working with. So I think that is appreciated. At least I appreciate too when I'm on the other side. If the role model is real. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that we get this thing in our heads that to be a role model, you have to be perfect because you are a role model. Mm-hmm. But I think that you have to be a real one.
Yeah.
And so do you find, like, let's say you're trying to do a pose and you're not able to do it.
Yeah.
Do you share that with your clients?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I will say, even maybe I can do this on my left side, I can't do it on my right side.
Yeah.
But I think that helps ultimately, because especially if I'm trying to do a pose and I can't, then I can maybe go, okay, maybe they feel it here too. And then it can help with cueing as well, just
Yeah.
to try to help them get into it. And that's something that comes up. If a yoga teacher can't do the pose, can they still teach it? Well, yes. They can.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it might actually help because they then really have to break it down and
Yeah.
figure it out.
And that's a real one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the main, I guess, compliments that I get as a therapist is it's nice to know that you're human,
Yeah.
right? Because in my
Yeah.
profession, I know some of my colleagues are like,
Yeah.
and would not have pictures of family or anything up because it's very, I've heard other psychotherapists say, no, if I see a client out in public, I pretend I don't know them. To me, that's like, I wouldn't want to do that to them mentally or emotionally if they
Yeah.
said hi to me to ignore them, right? I will not go up to a client and say hi, but if they say hi to me, always.
Yeah.
But I think that is a real one,
Yeah.
then, to say, you know what, I just did this, and or if I say sometimes something comes out in session and I'm like, I am so sorry
Yeah.
that like I didn't,
Definitely.
not anything hurtful, but if
Yeah.
I make a mistake in something, and I have in something that I said that may have been triggering for them, I'm like, I'm so sorry, and they're
Yeah.
like, no, I appreciate it. I think that is better than me being perfect, and
Yes. But like you said, I mean, perfect can come across as perhaps cold or closed
Yeah.
off, and in some cases you don't want that, right? Like,
yeah, or
and it-
too much
yeah.
to live up to. Like,
Yeah.
I know that,
Yeah.
if you didn't share with some of your clients that, yeah, I can't do this on this side, then often people that are just starting out are intimidated and they look at
Yeah.
you like, I'm not going to get like that. I'm
Yeah.
not. So I think that's, and that's exactly what I mean by a perfect role model or a real one.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's hard though because sometimes people are like, you should be able to do everything. But maybe that's just reflective of the type of role model they would work better with.
For sure.
Right? So
For sure. And my sister she's 50 years old, and she talks about, people say to her, oh yeah, well, look what you do. You can do that. And she's like, no, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I can't do some of those moves. I can't do,
Yeah.
and people, I think that, the other side of it, the expectations people have for you to be a perfect role model, like you
Yes.
just said, but they just have this, because you do this, you must be able to
Exactly.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. So we're just going to do some rapid fire, just a fun segment. You don't have to have long, big answers. It's just whatever comes to mind. So the first one, biggest myth about yoga.
You have to be bendy.
Okay, perfect. Most underrated mental health habit.
Breathing exercises.
Something you do on hard days.
Exercise.
Okay. Advice for someone afraid to start moving again.
You can do it.
Yep. One message.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
You are doing
Because I
awesome.
want to keep responding, right? But it's like, oh no, it's short.
No, you can do it. Yep. In wrapping up, if someone listening is feeling disconnected from themselves, physically and emotionally, where would you suggest that they start?
Oh my God. If possible, to work with a professional, that's a really great starting point. They can give you the tools and the steps and help you kind of figure out a plan. So if that's possible, if that's not possible to work with a professional, is there someone else in your life that you admire what they're doing? Can you talk to them, ask them questions about it, perhaps find some inspiration there? I really think interacting with other people is hugely helpful. Or can you do self-research? Can you start to kind of explore things online? If you don't want to go someplace, maybe there's classes you can take online or books you can look into. But take that first step. If you're thinking about it, that's already amazing. That's what you need to do. The next step is what you decide to do with that thought. How are you going to act on it? Are you going to make what you want to do a reality? Otherwise, you might not get super far.
For sure. And just one step at a time.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to be jump right in.
Yeah.
Yes. I think what I want people to understand this episode today, you've really helped me with this, is that your mental health isn't separate from your body.
Mm-hmm.
I talk all the time how physical and mental health are connected.
Yes.
And sometimes healing doesn't have to be, or doesn't happen to be through words.
Mm-hmm.
As a therapist, I'm saying this. It doesn't have to be through words. It happens through breath. It happens through movement, and learning to reconnect with yourself.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah. And thank you for helping me.
I like
that
how you
today.
put that nice and succinctly. That was
Yeah.
better than I could explain. So good.
Well, I did it ahead of time and wrote it out. So, all right. If this episode resonated with you, share it with somebody who needs a reminder that progress isn't linear, and neither is healing. If somebody wanted to take a class with you, a yoga class, where could they find you?
Yeah, so currently I'm teaching at OM, Yoga and Pilates in Gatineau. So if you're out that way, otherwise Milltown Yoga in Almont is opening soon, and I'll be teaching there as well.
Okay. All right. Awesome. If you have any questions, drop us a comment or send us a DM, and we will be happy to help. If it's a question for Joelle, I will forward it to her and get the answer for you. Thank you so much for joining me. This was great.
Thank you.
That's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. And as always, make sure you take care of you. That's it for today's episode of the Mental Playbook with Christine Dalgity. Remember, the work doesn't end because the episode does. Thank you so much for listening and for being part of these conversations. If you're enjoying the podcast, please rate and follow us on Spotify. It helps us grow and reach more people who might need this too. And don't forget, take care of you.